Hi guys, my name is JChui, and today I will be presenting about how the modern inventions of the Industrial Revolution and the Technological Revolution have homogenized aspects of humanity's cultural diversity. Homogenization, in the word of Merriam-Webster, is the process of blending diverse elements into a mixture that is the same throughout. While globalization and modern inventions in today's world has made the world more interconnected than at any point in history, an international monoculture is rapidly developing. The following presentation will outline how the homogenizing effects of revolutions in transportation, industry, and technology have weakened diversity in human genetics, languages, and the fashion industry. As different methods of transportation have developed, the movement of people have been facilitated, causing international genetic diversity to lessen. Historically, genetic interchange has been restricted by local and regional constraints on courting and marriage practices. Stephen Stearns, a Yale professor in evolutionary biology, has found that prior to the invention of the bicycle, the average courting distance between the birthplaces of spouses in England during the late 19th century was about 30 miles on average. Was about 1 mile on average. However, that number has increased to about 30 miles since the invention of the bicycle. Thus, efficiency in methods of travel and communication have driven individuals stemming from different cultures to begin breeding with individuals of other cultures, lessening the genetic diversity within the human species. In corroborating accounts, a direct correlation has also been established between the increased usage of air travel since the mid-1950s and the increased multiraciality of U.S. citizens. In fact, 1 in 7 U.S. infants were multiracial in 2015, a number that has tripled since 1980. As rural societies and even urban ones continue to be heavily hit by modernization, linguistic practices have also started to disappear. A prominent example are the Seri nomads of Mexico, an ethnic minority researched by freelance journalist Russ Reiner in his recent National Geographic article, Vanishing Voices. Historically, a Seri mother would deliver natural births in her own home, where her placenta would be buried underground, covered in sand, ash, dirt, and rocks, after birthing her child. Thus, the commonly asked question, "Nyoni kiso anotij," is translating to "where is your placenta buried?" is a common way of asking a Seri where he or she is from. With the recent invention of hospitals, however, traditional methods of birth giving have been replaced, and phrases like these are hardly exchanged. In fact, these industrial influences have also encouraged some Seris to learn more common languages like English or Spanish. For the Tuvan people, industrial development has also eroded some of their cultural practices, causing parts of their vocabulary to become entirely obsolete and threatening the longevity of their language. This ancient dialect is strongly rooted in the traditional methods of animal raising, particularly horse herding. For example, the word "zinchuler" describes a style of throat singing that Tuvan herders use to capture their horses, as it mimics the sound of galloping hooves. On the contrary, Russia's industrial plans in the 20th century to spread road infrastructure have driven out most horse herders in this day and age, ultimately causing words like these and cultural practices like these to become completely unused, essentially hindering the Tuvan's traditional ways of living and speaking. For some sedentary groups, industrialization has removed the remaining vestiges of regional dialects entirely. In 2012, Scotsman Bobby Hogg died, and along with his death was the end of Pomerty fisher folk, as Hogg was the last native speaker of the idiom. In retrospect, many of the language's words are directly rooted in the traditional fishing methods of Scotland. With the industrialization of fishing in the mid-20th century, however, both the traditional fishing methods and the dialect gradually became unused. Along with the Industrial Revolution, the subsequent technological revolution has carried homogenizing impacts on many societies. For example, the invention of social media has streamlined the process of sharing ideas, propping up trends and fads, leading many to value only the socially acceptable styles in the world of fashion. Hardly any article of clothing in store today carries a single ounce of sentimental value, and instead mirrors the racks and racks of clothing identical in every other store. This trend is particularly common in high-end couture. Take Kanye West Season 2 of Yeezy, for example. Almost every single article of this line was completely nude and bared the exact same style and had no diversity. Hence, fashion trends double as a creativity killer and achieve global standards of style one step closer to the death of its diversity. So what's the solution to the homogenizing effects of modern norms and inventions? Well, the world needs to begin by recognizing that change is inevitable. Instead of fighting, societies need to learn how to adapt by integrating tradition with progression, old with new, past with present, and so forth. Modern practices of today's technological and industrialized era have already begun to be used to preserve a society's traditional differences. For example, cultural survival of the European nation Estonia is rooted in the commoditization of their practices through tourism. There, modern methods of transportation and travel are used as an economic benefit, as their intangible heritage serves as an entertainment for foreigners to observe. Likewise, living in an era of technology can actually assist in the promotion of linguistic practice. With the establishment of language learning websites like Mozilla and Duolingo, the world's posterity can gradually rebuild an appreciation for dialectal diversity. Such websites teach a variety of languages, including Portuguese, Norwegian, Hebrew, and Welsh. Perhaps one of the most controversial aspects of the world's social diversity, the fashion industry has seldom failed in delivering. Several designers of this industry are beginning to use social media as a platform for awareness and inceptions for stylistic diversity. For example, designer Matthew Miller is commonly known for his gender-fluid styles for both males and females. In 2015, he declared, "I just think that gendered fashion shows are very outdated, to be honest. It's a concept that one door is used for one gender and the other for another. It's a very Victorian way of thinking. It's not inclusive, it's incommensurable." With this new gender-bending fashion movement, walls rooted in sexism are slowly beginning to lower as gender is no longer viewed as simply a label. Iconic breakthroughs like these are only properly publicized through social media. Thus, when ultimately used appropriately, modern methods of technology and industry can be of benefit in the preservation of cultural diversity, essentially fostering a global community more interconnected than ever. Thank you.
Jackie, how did your research question evolve as you moved throughout the process?
Well, initially, I thought that I was just going to take on a scientific perspective, looking at the health effects and stuff like that in regards to the effects of modern inventions on homogenization. But then I realized that was a little bit too narrow, so I decided to expand it to include a variety of perspectives.
And secondly, if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct on this issue?
I would probably want to look more into the language aspect. When I was reading Russ Reimer's article, Vanishing Voices, he gave a variety of languages, and those were just like a couple out of like the hundreds that have disappeared, and I thought that was really interesting, and that kind of held a special place in my heart because like I struggle with holding on to Chinese, which isn't even a minority dialect. It's a big language, and that seems like a really cool topic for research.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.